to question number one, mate. Will Rúben Amorim play a striker versus Brighton? In the Team Talk episode, in the build-up to the game at Liverpool, you said Sesko could be the man to occupy the two defenders. You were very impressed with Amorim's decision not to play him at all and in fact play Mason Mount and then just say, don't worry, we're not going to occupy you with anyone at all. Do you think he'll employ the same strategy this time round?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. So when you buy someone like Sesko for that amount of money, there's a management thing that's got to go on here as well, right? You stuck him on the bench at Anfield and it worked. Then you've got a home game. You'd expect your big striker to come back in, but actually didn't the front three look a lot better and more mobile without him in it? So it's a very, very difficult decision. And one of the reasons it's a difficult decision is because who they're playing against in Brighton. So the two centre-backs for Brighton in Van Heck and Dunk are very, very dominant in aerial positions. Quite. So therefore, you would say that there are two sides to that coin. Do you play your big number 9 to compete against them, or do you say, no, we're not going to win that battle, so therefore we don't? So if we just go straight into the board, what I think will probably happen is he'll stick with the same front three, which is Mount, which is Cunha, and then Mbeumo. Okay, but the key to this is going to be who they play as the wing backs in this game, because that will dictate the positions that these guys take up. If they play Amad Diallo again at right wing back, which I was a big believer in for Anfield, then Amad Diallo is going to get into this position here, which means Mbeumo and Cunha are going to act much more like two strikers. Mason Mount can float around. Bruno Fernandes is going to get up there and join the attack, and Dorgu or Diallo perhaps are going to be the one that either has to help in defence or bombs up the outside. So it is a difficult decision. The reason that I think he'll stick with the same front three is because what he will fancy happening is that Cunha can move this back four around. So if Mason Mount, as being Rúben Amorim's favourite, plays on the left of the three and he comes into this position here, Cunha can go out, dragging centre-halves apart, which allows Mbeumo to run through, because we know Amad Diallo is going to come from this side. The argument for playing Sesko is that you get the centre-backs together in that position, Sesko occupies there, and then if you do leave out Mason Mount, you have Cunha running in that gap, and then Brian Mbeumo running in that gap there, either side of him. So there's two sides to that coin. Personally, I think he'll stick with the same front three, and then he has the option to bring Sesko on later on.
You have been for quite some time as well, from basically when Rúben Amorim first came in. I think it was before Ipswich was his first ever game, and I remember you saying then, he is going to be a big part of this team, Amad, under the system that Amorim plays. It hasn't really come to fruition as much as I certainly think you'd have liked to have seen, but it certainly paid dividends last weekend. Are you very much wed to him playing the fullback position at all times, or do you think he could be utilised elsewhere?
I think that's another big decision for Amorim today, because what that could mean is a new position for Brian Mbeumo. Okay. And I don't just mean perhaps a starting position, but the positions he takes up in the game. There's a possibility here that Amad Diallo plays in the front three. Amorim could go with Cunha, Mbeumo, and Amad Diallo as a front three.
And Mbeumo through the middle.
Yeah, he could. I think he could do that. He played there again for Brentford a couple of times. And again, that's from a mobility point of view. So again, I think it's perhaps unlikely because of how much he favours Mason Mount. But one thing we've got to be aware of, again, when you play Brighton, is that Brighton will leave three up. So if Matoma's fit, there's Minter, there's Welbeck, there's Reuter. They will leave three up. So in which sense, if United just play with their bombing on wing backs, and let's just say that, Bruno and Casemiro are in there, and then Amad Diallo plays wing back and moves up to here, you end up with a back three like this, and you can see straight away these areas that are going to be attacked by Brighton. Okay?
And of course, Dino, against Manchester City and Tottenham, Brighton scored and had employed that tactic to huge effect.
Yeah, exactly that. So if he wants to keep Amad Diallo as part of the 11, one of the ways to do that is that your right centre-back comes across in here, Dorgu or Diallo convert it into a back four, Amad Diallo plays on the right of the front three, and then you end up with Mbeumo and Cunha in those attacking positions there.
Just for a bit of clarity here though, Dino, when you've got the four at the back there, that's the position United will shift into when the left fullback is attacking.
Yes.
And then if whoever it might say, it's Diallo at right wing back, if he attacks this side, then the left fullback drops back to make it that four?
Yeah, technically yes. And then, so therefore it's then a decision over, do you want Amad Diallo's pace, or do you want Mason Mount's trickery and positional sense in those two things? And look, that's a big decision for him to make. But the reason I think that Brian Mbeumo could occupy that 9 position is because when United do go direct, he's unbelievably good at picking up those second balls. And he's for his size, he's very good in the air as well. So if they do clear their lines from Lamans and go up to Brian Mbeumo, he can buzz around. And then also, we've talked about, we're going to come on to this more in a second, but we've talked about that becoming a 4-4-2. If then that is Amad Diallo there, he drops in, so you've got 4 there, and then Cunha and Mbeumo effectively form a front two. So, and we saw their link up in the game at Anfield. They're getting more and more in tune with each other. And if Cunha drops in to come and receive the ball with the midfield players in this position here, dropping into that space to make a 3, and Mbeumo can go that way from a centre forward position and that way. So it's almost like double threat from Bruno there. From Brian Mbeumo there. And it means that it makes that mobile front three more flexible. And I think if you play with Sesko in the middle, then you know that as a defensive unit, Sesko is going to stay in the middle and you're going to be defending Cunha one side and Brian Mbeumo the other. If you go with a front three of Mbeumo, Cunha, and then either Mount or Amad Diallo, you could end up in a situation where they're in different positions at different times, which makes them more unpredictable.
So back to the question then, Dino, would I play with a striker, yes or no?
Well, they will play with a striker, but I don't think they'll play with the striker that the question is asking. I think Sesko will come from the bench.
Excellent.
United, I mean, when I saw the team on Sunday, I thought, he's going to, if United lose here today, picking Casemiro alongside Fernandes, Bruno in the midfield, having travelled all that way, and then picking Harry and De Ligt together, knowing that they're quick. You know, Gakpo, Isak, obviously Salah there, and people.
But they also knew they'd be sitting in a lot.
Yeah, I
actually think that's the ground you get away with. Like,
I think so.
Do you know what I mean?
think so.
It's a tighter play. It's all a bit fucking.
I know. They got in once or twice in the first half.
Isak got in down that right hand side and he should have scored.
He's got to score that.
That was such like a Luke Shaw though, that wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he come off Maguire as well.
Yeah. But just in terms of that, he took a risk. He left Sesko out. He played Casemiro in midfield with Bruno. He played Harry and De Ligt, didn't play Yoro, who's quicker. I think at the end of the game, if that had gone how everybody thought it would go, including us when we saw the team, I think he'd have been in
serious trouble.
He'd been in a serious trouble. It was a big. He managed everything really well on Sunday. He got it right, didn't he?
Yeah, got it right.
Exactly. And when you win, but when you win. Everything's right, isn't it? You get the result.
Yeah, but the thing is,
I give him a 5-year deal. Forget a 3. I give him 5 years.
But you're right, Gal. What you said about the team he picked and going to Liverpool, Liverpool's team coming off the international break, having to do something to show people that we're still here. To pick that team and then beat them like he did. And I
don't think you ever win at Liverpool, though, do you, without having a bit of luck?
You have to have a bit of luck.
I remember they scored 2 there last year, and they could have won it last year. So maybe we're wrong to be completely writing United off, and I think they drew the year before that. That's when Van Dijk said United came and parked the bus. So United had their kind of memory of going to Anfield the last year or two, or a good memory. So the weekend was obviously huge.
Who they got next? United?
Brighton Saturday. Do you just think on his front three?
Good game for them. Great game. FA Cup night.
Just thinking about the front three, he's got Sesko at 80 million quid, but he loves Mason Mount, doesn't he?
That's a head scratcher, I think, still for me.
You can tell he wants Mount in with Mbeumo and Cunha.
Playing Mount?
Well, Mount's playing, to be fair, on just off the left a little bit, but he's also doing a lot to get inside.
Is he like a left half?
He moves. Yeah,
he defends really well. He defends really well.
Left half.
He's a left half. I don't know that position.
Do you know what I think about Mount? He reminds me of, say, Darren Anderton, of Adam Lallana, players who connect to Jisung Park maybe a little bit, players who do that sort of ugly bit well, but they also connect and glue things with, like, he starts to press.
Yeah, but he's doing well to get in the starting United team in Mount.
I think
and a lot of managers have loved him over the years. He was kind of a main man with England for a while. Chelsea, of course. And obviously the manager now wants to put him in. But it's, again, go back to stats. If you're an attacking player, at United, stats when he's played, really poor. But sometimes if you're going, I can see he's getting a lot of assists. His stats are really bad.
Yeah, he's not popping up with big goals.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Jason Park, as you mentioned, there, he pops up with.
Or assist scores. He's not getting assists.
The way that Mason Mount play, he can score those goals where he scores.
He's capable.
He's capable of doing it. Now, if he got to run it, I'm not saying he's going to get a run. If he got to run it, maybe he can then develop that. That's what they can use him as that player.
The other two, man, they're getting you up the pitch. They're
When you're in
threat. Last year, United never looked like they were going to get many goals. Everyone was looking at Bruno all the time.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, and as we know, when you're midfield and you've got your defenders, obviously Wright was attacker. If you've got a striker that can get you out of a jail, like so you go, fuck, it's brilliant.
Antonio Valencia get you up the pitch.
Yeah, running power and ball carriers. And when they're getting you up the pitch, you're having a breather. You're having a breather. Nice one. Even if they miss a chance, get us up there. And a goal after a minute and a half. What a start.
They've got to kick on from this now, and that's the key thing. They can't go back to square one in the next couple
of years. That's their first back-to-back wins, isn't it?
No, but you got Brighton at home.
Game, really.
Got Brighton at home, Forest away. Those two matches now, you can see that United could be in a healthy position if they're to win those two matches.
Manchester United's monumental win over Liverpool wasn't just 3 points. It was a statement. A roar from Old Trafford that maybe, just maybe, Rúben Amorim's revolution has finally arrived. But in football, glory fades fast. And now Brighton stand in the way, a side that has quietly tormented United in recent years. For Amorim, this game is more than another Premier League fixture. It's a reality check. Can his new-look side follow up that historic win with consistency? Or was Anfield just a one-night miracle? United fans have seen this story before, a spark of brilliance followed by a stumble. Amorim knows it too. He's desperate to prove that this United team isn't built on emotion, but evolution. And then there's Benjamin Sesko. The young striker watched the Liverpool game from the bench as Amorim's tactical shuffle worked to perfection. But will lightning strike twice? Šeško's recent scoring form makes him almost impossible to ignore. His pace, power, and hunger could be exactly what United need to break down Brighton's bold backline. Still, Amorim is a coach who lives by his system, not his stars. Every decision is calculated, every lineup a message. If he starts Sesko, it's a sign that United are ready to take the game to Brighton. If not, expect another masterclass in tactical control. Either way, all eyes will be on Old Trafford. Momentum, pride, and belief, everything is on the line.